Okay, so I'm gonna make this video nice and clear. I don't understand the hate for James Gunn's Superman, a movie that hasn't even released in theaters yet. I understand that there's some concern about the way James Gunn directs his things, but let's be honest, the man really doesn't miss. I'm not saying he's perfect. I'm not saying there's no way Superman could be bad, but what I'm saying is it's so funny how everyone's just coming to the internet and finding everything they can to just shit on the Superman movie when there's absolutely no reason to. I'm not saying you have to go watch it, even though people are going to go watch it just so they can hate it. But I'm saying there's no reason for this. It's just getting out of hand. It's just getting way out of hand, real out of control, and just really contrived and ridiculous. I understand people who like Henry Cavill. I like Henry Cavill. I look at that dude and I go, hey, look, he's Superman, right? Like we all know that Henry Cavill, physique wise, look wise, was just Superman, bro. Like that just is what it is. And I know Zack Snyder actually has a reputation for casting face to character. He's so good at making it look good. He's so good at making the characters look good, but he sucks as a writer. He can't write the characters. He doesn't understand the characters. He wrote a good Wonder Woman, a good Flash, a good Cyborg. He writes a bad Batman and a good and a bad Superman. He is okay with Aquaman, but there's no guarantee there. I just think the hate for James Gunn Superman has gotten just toxic. And I kind of want to blame the Snyder Cut, but the movie's actually awesome. But ever since the fans got what they wanted with the Snyder Cut release, it really caused this really bad cataclysmic domino effect of people just doing this to get what they want from studios when it's not even necessary. If you really want to take a look at the era of Zack Snyder's movies, yes, Wonder Woman did good. BB, and most of them did pretty well box office wise. But after a point, they just weren't working. And the movies weren't good. I wish I could say the movies were good, but there were a few outliers. The first Wonder Woman, Aquaman, in my opinion, Shazam, Suicide Squad, and those were like the really good ones. I may be missing one, but those were like the really good ones, right? And that's not even to say that I actually really like Birds of Prey. I know a lot of people don't. I like Birds of Prey more than the average person. I think it's actually fun and hilarious and deserves a lot of more nuance than it ever got before. I think I've seen that in recent years. Excuse me. But on the off chance, the issue is just outrageous. Like this, the DCEU didn't have a high track record. Man of Steel, depending on the fan, is either okay, terrible, or a masterpiece. Batman vs Superman, outside of the Snyder people, is universally, with a small percentage of people, disliked as a film altogether. Then you had the Whedon cut of Justice League, which was the one that got released in theaters, and it is just a bad film. Then you get the other film. Like I'm saying, it's like the Snyder cut is a godsend compared to a lot of other Zack Snyder films. He's not that great of a director. In fact, I'd say he's more controversial than on point. And my other annoyance comes in with the fact that a lot of people's first iteration of Superman seems to be goddamn Man of Steel. And the problem with that is that's not the best interpretation of Superman. That's actually a really not good interpretation if you want to be honest. Like if you want to be real, Superman, what we see in this trailer, it felt more like Superman. It seems more like Superman than we ever got from Zack Snyder. And I say that not to be a jab at someone, but just to be like Superman is not some god amongst people who can't understand people. He's never been that character. Superman has always been human, just happens to be powerful. He was raised by two of the most human humans on earth. He's a human at heart. He understands humanity. He loves humanity. He likes to be involved with humans. That is Superman's whole point. Yes, he's corny, fine, but he's supposed to be. And it's in a good way because we need that. We need that character. Like the story of kindness in a world that doesn't respect kindness is absolutely Superman. That is in that is like the perfect way you could explain a Superman story. And also in this situation, if you guys want another interpretation of Superman, read All Star Superman, which this comic is loosely based off of, or go see stuff. If you want to see Superman in pain, but also want to see him still be Superman, go see For the Man Who Has Everything, the JLU episode, which Alan Moore himself, who wrote the original comic, which I'd suggest you read as well, even likes that episode because it's phenomenal. It's a phenomenal story. It's a phenomenal episode. It's a great Superman story, great for his character, great for story. You get a essence of who Superman is at the core of what he really wants, but he could get it, but he doesn't have it. But he also is still Superman. Watch Superman the animated series. That's my personal favorite version of the character. Tim Daly is Superman to me. I love Tim Daly, and I think he doesn't get enough love. But that is Superman. Those iterations of Superman are Superman. Hell, Christopher Reeve Superman, the first movie especially. All of these iterations of Superman are what Superman is as a character embodiment. Now, I'm not going to sit and say I'm not asking for like a newer twist on Superman. Like Zack Snyder's Superman wasn't like an unwelcome thing. I said, hey, if he can make it work, I'll see. Let's see what happens. And then he just couldn't stick the fucking landing. So it's like people have been on the internet purposely trying to find ways to hate Superman 2025, and it just doesn't make any sense. Why don't you let the movie come out, see the film, and see what happens? But the people who are just going out of their way to find any little thing about the movie, and it just doesn't make any sense. I'm like, just wait till the film comes out. Now, I will admit, there are some weird references to Batman vs. Superman in this trailer alone. Like, in these trailers, I'm like, yo, Superman does that same thing he does in BVS, but there seems to be more of a motive to why he does it in this. So it's like, sure, why not? Like the whole idea is just, oh, we want the DCEU and Zack Snyder and this other. Like, you guys are idiots. You guys are very, very big idiots, and I just don't understand how you guys sleep at night being this dumb. And I'm saying that, and I could care less who has a problem with it. I am purposely going that, y'all, and I don't care. I don't understand it. It's not even out. For all we know, this movie could be dark at times, but still Superman. Have you guys ever seen Apocalypse Now? Have you ever seen Legacy from Superman animated series? Have you ever seen Late Mr. Kent? These episodes still had Superman in them, and they were dark, and they're some of the greatest episodes in the DCAU to date. So what are we even talking about? Just for the sake that people just don't understand Superman. They think that Zack Snyder's Superman is the only way Superman is supposed to be, is just dumb. And also, I think David Corenswet Sweat and Rachel Brosnahan displayed way more chemistry as Clark and Lois, and with Superman being in the room at the same time. They displayed more chemistry in those 15 seconds we see them in that trailer than we do Henry Cavill and Amy Adams in all those years of being in the DCEU. There's no chemistry, but there's a lot of chemistry here. There's a lot of legacy here. There's a lot of ideas that we don't have to go through Superman's origin story 1,000 times. We just get him as Superman, being Superman. He's been Superman for a while. I think this is a better approach to trying to do something like this. And I think Nicholas Hoult looks damn good. Oh, and a side note, I am over people with this bitching about, oh, it's just James Gunn and his friends. Nobody says this about Martin Scorsese when he cast Robert De Niro and Leonardo DiCaprio and everything. Nobody says this to Quentin Tarantino, who's had Samuel L. Jackson in damn near all of his movies. No one has said this to Christopher Nolan, who's had Michael Caine in all of his movies. No one says this to those people. Shit, Cillian Murphy's in what, 5 or 6 of his movies? No one says anything about that. No one said anything about Joss Whedon having Alan Tudyk show up in a lot of his stuff, or a bunch of people from his older work showing up in his projects. So what's the problem? All of a sudden, it's this huge issue that James Gunn is using people that he knows are talented. At least the people he's bringing on are talented. They're great people he brings on. Not to mention the fact that Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan has been in every Ryan Coogler project, and they're all good projects. Yes, I said that. So no, so why is it all of a sudden this issue of James Gunn and his friends? I don't even think I'm not saying him and David Corenswet didn't know each other, but David Corenswet, I hadn't seen him in anything until they announced him as Superman. And then it was like, oh, he's going to be in Twisters. And I was like, hey, maybe I can see if he's a good actor. And I saw him in Twisters and I said, damn, he's a pretty good actor. Okay, cool. I still don't think I've seen Rachel Brosnahan in anything. Oh, wait, no, I saw The Amateur this year. And I mean, she's in it for like 5 minutes, but she seems cute. I want to see The Marvelous Miss Maisel just to see how, she is with her with more time. And I'm excited to see her be Lois. I'm excited, honestly. So I don't understand what the problem is. I just don't. I think people are just being stupid. I think you all are being immature. I really want this movie to do well critically and financially, just to shut people up for good. And the thing is, they're never going to shut up, and we just have to accept that. But we people who understand Superman and understand how comic characters are and understand cinema and other things, ignore these aspects because they're just going to keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it until they win, and they're not going to. So that's pretty much all I've got to say on this topic. You guys are just out of control and need to get shut down somehow. But if you made it this far, smash that like button, like, comment, subscribe for more. See y'all later.